your hoodie off, you know, it's covering your
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
Okay, I think we may have solved our technical problems. I hope. I don't know. We're just going to keep trying anyway and hope for the best. But if you're still there, thank you. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching. We will continue on where we left off, which is Nigel was telling us a bit about what he's been up to. And that spun off into a conversation about Watchmen, which was actually kind of interesting. So, Nigel, take it away, man.
Now I'm going to have to cast my mind back to 20 minutes ago. And that's
a long time ago, man.
Yeah, I know. It's like time works differently in 2020. So, but yeah, I think I was just saying that the show itself, I was trying to just understand because, like you mentioned, Jason, so I make comics, manga comics. So I'm just interested to watch things and understand how they put it together sort of story-wise, because for me, when I was watching it, it felt very different, and I just hadn't been able to sort of place my finger on what they did until joining this call and sort of shed some light. So yeah, just interested because it's really like riveting. Like I found myself throughout I was sort of captivated by it, but there were some episodes where I was really like, I want to see what happens next. I want to see what these characters do, but then also thinking like it just feels like a different type of show. So I was slightly confused, but also impressed at the same time.
Totally agree, and I think people like Damon Lindelof and what's the guy that did Legion again? What's his name? Who
Legion, is that Noah Hawley?
Yeah, Noah Hawley. Yeah, people like that who have like these like high concept, big ambitious ways of doing like superhero things. Like I'm all for it. Like it's because you've either got the CW stuff, which is kind of like you kind of know what you're getting. It's kind of safe. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah,
like, people don't need any more of that.
Yeah, like
I don't watch CW anymore. I've got off it. I don't watch any of the shows anymore.
It's boring. Like
yeah.
I haven't watched Black Lightning. Is it any good? Is Black Lightning any good? Is Batwoman any good? Is anyone watching these things?
You know what? So I did watch the first. There's 3 seasons now. I think I've watched the first 2. I did it. So I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it with the like maybe this isn't as good as I'd say now Watchmen or like The Boys or it's not. I think it for me at least it's the sort of best of the bunch. And I do appreciate just seeing a more diverse cast, which is something I appreciated seeing different types of people. But I think in terms of like quality, we can, like we've seen, there's other levels to go to. Like The Boys, which is something that, like for me, because I'm not familiar with the original like comics, so I came into that very new, and I loved it. Like one because even from season 1 and season 2. Like I don't know what's going to happen next, and I mean not just because I haven't read the comics. Like it just feels like the way they've done it. Like, well, this could they could actually kill this character, or this could happen. And then just the take on superheroes. I guess it's quite cynical. It's quite a cynical take, but it's a different perspective in seeing this idea of superheroes for sort of purely commercial gain and this facade that and then what goes on behind closed doors, I thought was just fascinating.
Totally. Like, The Boys was like one of my favorite TV shows of the year for sure. And anything that kind of like Watchmen's in, anything kind of twists the kind of normal conventions of superheroes or make you think about them a little bit different, which is kind of what we need. Is like great. And The Boys, like every episode I was like, holy guacamole, what is like how do they let this go on TV? Like it's crazy.
That's the thing though, it's not so something like the CW, it's TV, so there's a format, there's an expected structure. I think what we're seeing with streaming is you can maybe tell different stories and you don't have to hit that mainstream audience. I mean something can become mainstream, but it doesn't need to be. But you can be niche. I mean, superheroes isn't necessarily niche, but you can, in terms of like the type of story and the way it's told, it can be niche and still find like a large audience and get that buzz around it. So I think the like streaming services has changed and is changing the type of stories that are being told.
Yeah. Do you guys think that comics, just like TV shows, are kind of going a bit kind of dark and a bit twisted in terms of superhero storytelling? Do you think comics are doing the same? Like, do you think the stories are getting a little bit less conventional and like kind of being twisted a little bit? Because I've got a couple in mind. Like have you guys read from Image Comics? Have you read Die, this comic called Die, Die?
No.
You need to go on it.
No.
It's about these group of kids in like the 80s who play Dungeons and Dragons, and a bit like Jumanji, they get sucked into this game, and they're in this magical realm for 2 years. Like, and in real life, people just think they've been like kidnapped by pedophiles or something. 2 years later, they show up. One of them's got one arm missing. One kid's completely gone. And like everyone's like, "Where were you? What's happened? Where's the other person?" And they're like, "We can't talk about it." And then like 30 years later, they all congregate and like, "We need to go back. We need to go get our friend." And that's how it starts. And you think, "Oh shit, this is good." And the thing is, in that time for the 2 years, they were leveling up. So when they go back in, they're like proper leveled up. So they're fighting all these monsters and these demons and dragons, and they've got like 30 years of just like kind of like remembering it and kind of like in their mind thinking how they would like kill a dragon now. And it's good. And if you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons or any kind of role-playing thing like this, this is good. The storyline's so good. Wow. And it's still ongoing now. It's like it's only on like issue like 20 something. But like it's brutal as well. It's proper brutal. And just when you get attached to a character, that character goes and like and the bad guys win. So
I'm gonna have to check that. I do like a few Image titles that I quite enjoy. But I think also like comics, they kind of like reflect what's going on in society. Just so I feel like coming out of this year, if they weren't dark already, they're gonna get
true, you're right, yeah.
But then even you can take that and you can make something of it. Like, so one of the stories I'm working on now is like literally inspired by the pandemic. I mean, our stuff is all ages, so is a different take, but certainly using what has happened this year to make something hopefully positive or certainly creative. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens going forward. This is kind of our generation's in a sense, where it's not the same thing, but in terms of like that event that just changes everything going forward. Like how many like World War II films, shows, books, whatever were made. I feel we're going to get that from this year. Might be like a silver lining out of
Adversity always inspires creativity, doesn't it? So you know, I'm sure that, you know, as horrible as this year has been and as many dreadful things have occurred, I think, you know, it will inspire artists to do more and to want to explore and kind of give us a safe space to explore kind of how we feel about the things that have happened in this year. So yeah, I think there definitely will be more of a shift in general, to answer your question, Jed, more of a shift in general in all art forms really towards kind of exploring you know, death and loss and life and what it means to be alive in a time like this. And I think we'll get loads of that kind of thing, to be honest. So yeah, that will definitely be something that will spin out of that. But let's move on, because I don't want to get too depressive about this year. We've been down this road so many times. Everybody's sick of COVID at the moment. So yeah, let's pivot the conversation away from COVID, and try and talk about more about the things that we're positive about and thankful about. As said, for those of you who are watching, we're joined by two fantastic guests in Jed Shepherd, co-writer of the hottest movie of the year, and he's going to talk a little bit about that to us. And Nigel Tomasi, the co-founder of May Armada brand, who've been doing lots of exciting things this year as well. So, you know, we'll get them to talk a little bit about what they've been doing. So, I guess firstly we'll start with Jed. Jed, first off, I mean, I don't even know if I've actually said this to you on podcast audio, but congratulations for host.
Thanks, man.
You know, I know we've kind of talked in WhatsApp groups and stuff, but you know, the movie was just such a breath of fresh air, and it came at the right time as well. Like, it absolutely came at the right time, because it came at a time when I think everybody has said was crying out for something, you know, a distraction, something that is going to take us out of the world, the depressing world that exists right outside our front doors. And Host did that and blew the bloody doors off in a big way. So yeah, as I said, congratulations to you, and to director Rob Savage, of course, as well, and to your co-writer. I always forget her name. Sorry, it's Haley, isn't it?
Gemma Hurley. Gemma
Hurley. Sorry,
Yeah.
Gemma Hurley. That's it. Yeah.
Haley.
So yeah,
listen,
shout out to
don't know
Gemma
what you don't
Hurley.
know, yeah.
Listen, I took
Her
a
name was
shot.
James. James.
yeah.
I took a shot. I missed. Yeah.
Yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
But yeah, absolutely. As said, big up yourselves for that one, man.
Congrats.
This must be just like a roller coaster for you guys, because at one point, you know, the movie kind of came out on Shudder, and I watched it on Shudder, was like, wow, this is amazing. And you could kind of see on social media there were people like talking about the movie and stuff. But then the next thing I know, you were on Breakfast TV in the morning, like talking about it. It was wild. I was like, what the hell is going on here? So for you guys, this must have been, like I said, just crazy. So, you know, what has it been like to have, as said, the hottest movie of the year, pretty much?
It's like, it's so bizarre, because when we first made this, we had like literal zero expectations. We were just like, we're bored and locked down. Let's make a movie with our friends, just like my friends in this other WhatsApp group, besides the one I'm in with you guys. And then we made it, but we were just like, oh shit, we like this. But we only kind of like watched a proper version of it the day before it dropped on Shudder, so we didn't really know what we had. And then when we showed it to the cast and crew the day before it dropped, we were like, oh, do you know what? This is good. This is actually good. And then the day it dropped on Shudder, it just blew up, and then it became their biggest ever like film by a very, very, very long way, and put them on the map. But the thing that kind of is crazy to me is, it's 4 months later now. It's the end of 2020, and we are making the top of every single like film list in magazines and like websites around like the world. And like, you have to remember, we are just a bunch of misfits from like London, like, who made this film for like no money, and we're up against Tenet. We're up against these big budget, massive movies, and everyone's talking about Host, and it's bizarre to me. But then a little part of me just thinks, Jed, do you remember when you were 15 and you knew this would happen, but you never knew how it would happen, but you knew at some point you'd make the biggest film, like horror film, like of the year. And I'm just like, yeah, like it's finally happened. It's taken a little while, but yeah, but it's crazy, and like we're all like so appreciative of it, because we just can't believe it. And like, I swear, like I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and it'll be like Christmas Eve, like last year, and be like, oh damn it, like this whole year was a dream. Like, it is a whole dream. Like it feels like that the entire time, you know, ever since like July 30th when it dropped. It feels like I'm living in a dream, because like obviously we're doing 3 Blumhouse films now off the back of Host, and there's other like mad opportunities I'm getting off the back of it, and it's like it's so weird, because like we've been making these like short films for like 5-6 years, and it's got attention. We've done like big festivals, but it's never really like broken to the mainstream. And then this one little film we made that's 56 minutes long. It's not conventional at all. We just use our phones. It's just like blown up, and like I just don't understand it. It's crazy. And the mad thing is, we've just wrapped on our next film, the first film for Blumhouse, like last week, and it's like, how are we going to compete with Host? How is that even possible? Because like you can't get bigger than the biggest film in the world of the year. So, like, it's crazy.
Biggest film of next year. That's
yeah.
Well, it's going to. I think it will be the most talked about film of 2021 for a little while, just because it's controversial. It's honestly controversial, as hell. We genuinely could get cancelled. I could get cancelled for it because it is like real. Like we're posing some big questions to people. We're making people like when they're watching it, they're like, who is my guy in this? Everyone's is kind of like really far away from what I align with, but it's like when you first watch American History X and you think, I can't be on these guys' side, but I kind of like these people, but I can't say he's my guy because they're Nazis. and I feel like there's going to be a bit that not as extreme as that, but that vibe when watching the next one, because you're dealing with the lead character is someone that is kind of someone that you wouldn't normally want to empathize with in a film. It's real anti-hero, but by the end you might think, oh, okay, this person is the complete opposite of me, but like maybe there's something in some of the stuff they have to say, even though it's crazy. But yeah, it's good that we get to make this kind of film with like a big studio like Blumhouse as well. It's mad. Like I'm honestly, it's like I'm like living out this weird like dream, and I'm hoping it continues for as long as possible.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, yeah, as I said, I mean, big congrats to all of you involved with Host. That was just amazing. I mean, it's definitely been one of my highlights of the year this year.
Oh, cheers,
yeah, it really has. It's you know, it came out of nowhere and kind of blew everybody away, I think, who saw it. Because of what you'd been able to achieve under, you know, such restrictions and under a tight budget, and you know, the amount of creativity that's clearly gone into the movie, as well as the amount of passion that you all have had for the project. And
and in January it's been released in like Asian countries, like Japan and like mainland China and some other places all around Europe. So we'll see how like the kind of the rest of the world feels about it. But yeah, no, it's exciting. And then the DVD and the Blu-ray is coming out January, February. So yeah, it'll just be cool just to have more people watch it. And but yeah, the only problem is like it's been mental, but only problem is like there is the only way is down now. So like peaked.
Yeah, you peaked too early, mate. You peaked too early.
yeah. So
no, Jed, I believe in you, man. You can make it. You can buck the trend, man. You can.
Hopefully.
Man. Yeah, man. Positive vibes.
Exactly. That's what we're all about on this episode. But yeah, thanks for that, mate. Nigel,
quick question. Like, Jed, because like you're telling us all this stuff about, you know, this country is getting the thing in Hollywood and Blumhouse. You know, I don't even know who those guys are. Yeah, but I'm sighting your beard. Have you gone Hollywood? Because I'm looking, your beard's looking pretty sharp. You know, have you gone Hollywood with us? Like,
you know what? It's like there's no like beard like gel in it or like beard oil.
Yeah.
I did have a shower like just before I come on to you guys, so maybe that's it. But, like, no, I'm
Hollywood. That is way too. You've gone too far.
I'm man. God damn it.
I'm coming out here looking like Tony Stark, but no, like I'm not a Hollywood person like at all. Like that's it. I'm staying in London and like making stuff here. That's
cool. Careful, this is being recorded. This is we're gonna pay 5 years.
There'll be video evidence if you start going down that road. There will be video evidence.
When you see me on an episode of like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like you need to like have an intervention with me or something.
Cool. Well, yeah, as said, Nigel, thanks a lot for joining us as well, man. Again, you know, we've spoken a few times this year, and I know this year's been difficult, as it has been for everybody, but it's been difficult for Maya Marder, and you face some challenges this year. But it looks like you guys have kind of adapted as much as you can. And, you know, I noticed that Gamepad is now moved to an online thing, which is great to see. So how have you found the process really of adjusting, and how is the new adjustments working out for you guys so far?
No, yeah, it's certainly been difficult. I mean, it's a difficult year for me even before the pandemic started. But I think once it did hit, it was a case of just having to. So I heard this analogy earlier in the year about like Lego and like Lego pieces being knocked over, and that was me. But then the analogy goes like the pieces are still there, and it took me a while to kind of internalize that, but it's like the pieces are still there. It definitely doesn't look how it was planning to look in the year, but this year has been about putting the pieces back together, hopefully bigger and more resilient than they were before. So like you said, like with gamepad the gamepad event, we were going to do an event in the summer and then turn that into an online event. And it's funny, like sometimes it's a weird distortion field with like social media, because I talk to people and like, well, wow, this is really cool, and people have been to the event and getting good feedback, which is great. And like people don't realize like how there was nothing, this was not a smooth transition. And it's just mad to think about how like just really having to go back to the drawing board and think about how can we continue to do this event that's still, and not just do the event, but do the event in a way that still holds true to what we've been saying before, which is about promoting that inclusion, that diversity, giving young people from underrepresented groups in the gaming industry like some work experience opportunities. How can we do that in an online space? So yeah, we came up with this idea of sort of Gamepad as a live stream variety show, essentially, where we put together this competition between different communities. So we've had like charities taking part, gaming communities, individuals, trying to get some individuals and families in future to take part in this friendly competition that takes place across different rounds. And then in between the rounds, I started like interviewing people from the games industry to talk about their journey into the industry and their work they do, and all the while trying to showcase diversity, and not just diversity in terms of like people, but in terms of job roles, because I work with young people and have done for a few years. And a lot of the time, like really for young people, if they don't see themselves, it sounds it's like basic, but if they don't see themselves, like aspiration isn't always there. So for me, I'm like, how can we show like young people that, there are different types of people, and some of them, not a lot, not enough, but some of them do look like you, and you can also do this kind of thing too. So I think for me, it's almost been a rebuilding, but also like a clarification of purpose and sort of what we can do with the event. Because, aside from the sort of pandemic, we've had the sort of rise in just awareness of the need for diversity in different spaces and industries. And just, I think for me, it's like something that I can have a positive impact on. So that's what I'm thinking now, like making Gamepad this fun, entertaining place, but also somewhere that helps shapes the video games industry, creative industries, and gives young people a chance to sort of break into those.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. It's a good way to go as well, to be able to kind of adjust the thinking and look for the new opportunities and things like that that are there, and take advantage of it is definitely going to help you guys going forward.
And I think that's like one of the lessons I've learned. It really is that adaptability. So I mentioned, I can't remember if I did this in the first part or in between when we were down, but I mentioned I'm working on a new manga that is like inspired by the pandemic. So like the story is about young people starting businesses, or young animals in our case. And and in this world, they are hit by a pandemic and have to adapt. So it's very loosely based on sort of our own journey. But I think for me, it's like taking that negative, but then pulling out the positive lessons and outcomes, and giving people and like young readers in particular that something can come out of it, because that's what it is. It's that opportunity from adversity. Like there's always opportunity. It's just about just being able to see it and go after it, and that's something I've had to constantly remind myself, and then I'm going to put into this story, and hopefully it can help help others as well.
Cool. Wicked, man. Wicked. Well, yeah, thanks for the little update there, Nigel. Appreciate that. Yeah, for those of you who are interested in what Nigel's doing, you should check out the website, mayamada.com. That is the home of all of Nigel's work, which he does in relation to the manga that he's working on at the moment, and the many mangas afterwards as well. Yeah, anime at some point, yeah. and also obviously the clothing lines and all the other merchandise and stuff is available there as well. So go and check that out if you're interested. We will pop a link up in the video for this when the video is finished. All right, chap, shall we start talking a bit about some of the movies and the comic books and the TV shows that we've enjoyed this year? I think we should. For those listening, we're not necessarily going to get into any deep dives here because it's Christmas Eve and, you know, people want to go and drink and eat and have some fun. So we're not going to like do no long things here. What we will do is we will definitely have a breakdown of quite a lot of things because there's a lot of things that me and Rich have missed that we need to give our thoughts on, like the Disney Plus news, like the HBO Max news, you know, and various other things as well. So we will have time for that. Of course, we will do a deep dive on The Mandalorian as well. We won't do it tonight because, as I said, it's Christmas Eve and everybody wants to go and eat and drink and be merry. So
can I just say, so Tazzy, my podcast co-host, is very excited for your breakdown of Mandalorian. That she's actually the reason.
Yes, yeah, I know. We were supposed to do that a little while ago, and then unfortunately, it just got manic, like life-wise for me. So I just really didn't have time to do it. But I have caught up now. I've watched the final episode of season 2, and I guess we should like kind of talk a little bit about the Mandalorian because it's amazing, isn't it? So, I mean, that's definitely another of my positives of the year has been the Mandalorian. It's been amazing. Yeah. You know, the first season I really enjoyed, but the second season has been absolutely fantastic. Every single chapter was tightly written. You know, the pacing was awesome. You felt like you understood the characters, you understood their motivations, you got why they were doing the things that they were doing. Every story kind of was, and it wasn't that kind of thing where they always leave you with a tease at the end, which I don't like. Like I like that sometimes in some parts of a television season, particularly if you are, say, in the second part of your season and you're building towards, you know, the main plot crescendo. But some shows kind of go overboard with that and try and do it with every single episode. And I don't like that. It leaves me feeling unsatisfied. Whereas I felt with The Mandalorian season 2, particularly in the beginning, the episodes were very self-contained. So you didn't have to kind of feel like you knew there was something else going on in the background. They kind of had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then they moved on to the next one. And then when it was time to start doing that and start building the blocks for what's to come, they did it, and then they paid it off superbly. So yeah, the Mandalorian is definitely high up on the list. Rich, I know you must be bursting to talk about that final episode, and in particular a specific cameo that happens at the end. So go on, take the floor, son.
Okay, you know what? Does anybody mind me talking about this?
Yes, just don't take 2 hours to do it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know anything you're talking about.
Yeah. It was beautiful, man. It was,
sorry, wait, Nigel, you haven't seen it, have you?
Have you ever seen it, Nigel? Have you?
No.
Well, Rich, you're gonna have to avoid spoilers. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be hard. Like,
yeah.
Sorry.
I know that's gonna feel a bit like abstaining for you. So, but yeah, try and skate around the edges if you can.
Okay. So, Nigel, have you seen any of the episodes? Have you seen any of season 2?
1 minute, second of this show.
If this was
Yoda memes.
Listen, if this was the 1990s, you'd get a knock on the head, like for being disobedient.
I can't do that now, not these days.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna use you to try and show you how good season 2 is. Have you seen season 1?
No, literally no.
He hasn't seen any.
Mandalorian. Okay, Okay. I'm gonna break it down like this. Did you enjoy any of the last 3 films that they released? Of like, you know, Finn and Rey and all that stuff, yeah?
Did I enjoy? I didn't enjoy.
You did
I
enjoy
enjoyed
it.
the first one. I enjoyed the first one. I appreciated the
Okay.
second one, and
Yeah.
was frustrated by the third one.
Okay. Now this is how I feel after seeing The Mandalorian. I didn't like those new ones in general at all. In fact,
Yeah.
I was probably the only person in the whole world
No,
that I know that who didn't like The Force Awakens. I hate The Force Awakens, right? And I was very, very harsh about that. Yeah. And
That's
I don't know. In
crazy.
fact, that's
That's
crazy
crazy.
talk. Crazy talk. Let me finish. And basically, everything that they got wrong with the new ones, right? They were able to fix in a TV show. This is the most Star Wars that you're gonna get since Star Wars. Like literally, I think people who are in like actual in Star Wars universe, right? They're watching The Mandalorian. That's how good it is. It's transcending multiversal barriers, right? That's how good the show is, man. I'm being deadly serious. Yeah, it's the best. Like this show saved the franchise. That's as far as I'm concerned, easily.
Yeah, I
For
will.
now.
I will be watching
Yeah.
this.
For my money, I agree. It is like going back to that original trilogy, like
Yeah.
and it's not only that, it's got vibes of like Lone Wolf and Cub. That's the kind of vibe of it. But like
spaghetti westerns.
Spaghetti westerns. But someone told me, yes, someone who knows Lucasfilm people, the vibe for them, it wasn't Lone Wolf and Cub, which I thought it would be. It's actually the 1970s film Paper Moon. That is that's the inspiration for The Mandalorian. I ain't seen this anywhere, but this is like direct from someone at Lucasfilm. Paper Moon is an Oscar-winning film from the 70s about a man who ends up having to drag around this little girl for this, and they go on this mad adventure, and they get into scrapes and stuff. And I'm like, oh, what? That is The Mandalorian. It's The Mandalorian, where this guy has to look after this little girl. He doesn't want to, but he has to, but he still has to do his job as well. So yeah, check out Paper Moon. It is the little kid won Best Actress, the youngest ever Oscar winner. But it is so good, and obviously you can tell at stages, oh, they're setting this up for a spin-off. Even before those Disney announcements, I was like, yeah. There's an Ashoka spin-off. There's going to be a spin-off here. There's going to be a spin-off in this. There's going to be a spin-off here, because the thing about Disney that you can never forget is they like money. They like money over anything. Any chance?
Disney know how to mine content.
Yeah. You know. Baby Yoda probably was only meant to be in the first 2 episodes, and they're like, nah, money. I like money. That's why he's green, because it reminds him of money. And like, you think at the end of, I'm not so like, Baby Yoda's in it, Nigel, but like, there's a question mark. Maybe will he be in series 3? Yeah, he will, because they still like money. Nothing's changed. They still like money. It's Disney. So he will be in season 3. And I've got a theory about the end of season 2 as well, that what we saw, which was amazing, and honestly, it was like bringing me to tears, like watching it, and like I never thought it could do that, and I was like, oh my god. And what they did, I think, was pull the biggest trick they've ever pulled. I don't think who we saw is who we think we saw. I think they pull in a trick, because if it's who we think we saw, that's the end of Baby Yoda. If it's a trick, then we see Baby Yoda episode 1 of season 3, because they have to save him. That, and in my mind, that is what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. But no, it's like the best TV of the year for me, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a comment as well from James Mason who said Mando is a great series. And yeah, I guess we all kind of agree on that, apart from Nigel, who hasn't seen it yet, so he needs to put his finger out and go and watch it. So,
I'm always late to the party. Like most of my best watch series this year are old, because they're not even necessarily new. So I've accepted this. I'm always late.
That's cool,
man. Fair enough, man. Take your time. It's worth it. Believe me. It's definitely worth it. Definitely. But yeah. Like The Mandalorian, as said, was a massive positive for me this year. Yeah, it really was. It was just an amazing series.
Positive.
Big time. Before I get on to the other sections, what were you guys' kind of TV hits as well this year? Has there been anything else that you've kind of watched this year that made a big impact for you, a positive impact?
I can give two things,
Go on.
but they are two old things.
Yeah.
But I did watch them for the first time this year, so I'm going to bring some sort of anime representation and say. So I watched for the first time Avatar: The Last Airbender, and was just struck by how well told this story is. For I don't even say for a kids show, but it is on the surface a kids show. And the reason I started watching it is, so like I mentioned, I sort of making comics, so I'm just interested in storytelling and how to be better. So I was just watching a lot of like YouTube videos, and a lot of people just kept referencing the Avatar. I think there's one in particular just continued referencing the Avatar. I'm like, it can't be that good for this guy to continue to bring up in terms of world building and character arcs. Let me give it a watch. Let me just give it a chance because he keeps mentioning it. So I'm watching it, and the first few episodes, cool. Yeah, I'm all for like cartoons and anime. But then there's a point I was like, oh, this is a really good show because I can see what they're doing, and this I think it's, for me, it's subjectively a good story, but it's also just in terms of like the storytelling, like like I said, the character arcs, the way they've done world building, they've managed to put in what are quite complex themes of sort of war, genocide, propaganda, things like that, and it just works so well, and it also has, for my money, one of the best redemption arcs that I have seen in Zuko. And Rich, you mentioned the recent Star Wars, and I feel like in that trilogy they tried to give Kylo Ren a redemption arc. That's not a redemption arc.
No.
This, like the character Zuko in this series is so, because you follow his journey from antagonist to something in the middle. He makes mistakes. He doesn't just flip arbitrarily. He learns, he grows, he develops, he makes mistakes. He takes those in, goes forward, and it's just like, wow, I'm so impressed by this. And it's also what I fully appreciate is a story that is told in the time it takes to tell the story and no more. Like it doesn't, like something with anime is like, as you know, filler. It's like almost like a expectation. There's no filler here. They just tell the story they need to tell. I can go on for more, and I did a long time ago, so I'll just leave it there. But Avatar, and then the other one is a series called Gurren Lagann, which, if anyone's seen that, but I also just watched that this year, and yeah, I think it's, I'd say, just the themes and the character and the emotion. Like, it's a story that for me, it's a story that you feel as well as just watch and take in. And I was on for that journey for that anime. So yeah, those are two like very much highlights for me this year.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks.
Okay.
How about you, bud? Yeah, man, go for it.
One show I really liked that some people didn't like was the sequel to on Netflix. It's the Haunting series, basically. So The Haunting of Bly Manor, which came out maybe just before Halloween. It came out, and people, like, fair enough, they compared to the first season, which was The Haunting of Hill House, which was perfect horror TV. It's difficult to ever beat that. Haunting of Bly Manor is a proper slow burn. People gave up after 4 or 5 episodes, and to be honest, it shouldn't take that long to get good because it wasn't that good up until then. But if you hang on till like after episode 5, you're in for a treat. You're in for a mind-bending, scary TV show, but you've just got to put in the work. It's like reading a novel that's boring, and all of a sudden it clicks. What they've been doing the entire time, they've been leading you down like a merry path, and like you just got to hold on. And people are very impatient nowadays, so I can kind of understand that. But I love that. I really, really love that TV show. The other one that I'm loving right now is Sweet Home on Netflix. The Korean monster madness show. Like, the monsters in that show, it's just about a group of people inside an apartment building, and then one day they try and go outside and it's blocked, like in Rec. It's blocked off. Now, what's going on? They force it open, and there's a man standing there like, what's going on? And the man's jaw suddenly unhinges and becomes a massive mouth and starts coming for them, and they're like, what the hell? And then just monsters surrounding this building, and I'm on like episode 6. I don't know why these monsters are coming for them, but these monsters are and they're turning against each other, and they're like fighting each other, and this one hench monster got inside. He's like 10 times Mike Tyson. He barely fits in the corridors, but he's like I don't know. He's just like a man, like just like looking for like someone to like fight, just going down like these corridors, like just this hench monster. And he's like, "What is going on?" The show is madness, but it was based on a webtoon, which was made into an anime, which was popular, and then they made it into a TV show. And so it has that anime angle where you have like a schoolgirl who in real life is probably like in her 20s, but she's a schoolgirl, and like you just think, "Nah, I shouldn't be watching this." And then and then you've got like the kind of like loner guy who just like his hair's like flopping across his face. No one understands him, but now there's monsters outside. Everyone's coming to him, and he's got a samurai sword for no reason. It is
who needs a reason to have a samurai sword? Damn it.
Where did you get that samurai sword from? This is Korea, not Japan. But no, it's good. It's a really, really good show. Like, just because like you just can't believe what you're seeing. So yeah, I recommend it. It's only came on like last Friday. But
cool.
And what is that on Netflix?
Netflix.
Okay, cool.
They've got basically every good Korean show that's come out in Korea is on Netflix right now.
Yeah. It's been like that for a little while as well, man. It's been like that for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. Rich, how about you? Any TV highlights for the year?
TV highlights for the year. Have I mentioned Raised by Wolves?
Yeah. No, you haven't.
Yeah, Raised by Wolves. Oh man, it was one of those things where I saw the trailer for it, and I was just like, this looks really, really good. It looks beautiful looking. It's got that, it's got that type of, that sci-fi feel. And then I saw Ridley Scott's name attached to it, and I was like, oh, you know what? Like, this just might end up being a little bit shit. Like, because I'm not saying that he's not great. It's just that he hasn't been great recently.
It looks like Prometheus to me. And is it like Prometheus?
I have to admit, like, when I did watch it, like I know some people that fell off after like the second or third episode. No, yeah, it is. You know what? It's got that type of feel to it, but I swear to God, Raised by Wolves is the prettiest show that you will ever watch on TV. It's just basically imagine how beautiful Prometheus is and the Covenant, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're shit films, like we can all agree that they were beautiful to look at. But imagine that, but inside like an hour episode.
We lost Rich.
Oh man. Okay, well, you know what? Let's just keep trucking.
Yeah.
One
thing about Raised by Wolves, I watched like 2 episodes of it, and I could see what they were trying to do, but I was a bit bored, to be honest. But Richard had been saying in the group chat that how good it was, so I'm gonna persist. But it's not I don't think it's an easy watch. It is really pretty to look at, but for me, it's a little bit hard, a bit like Prometheus, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't watched it at all. Rich has watched it. I haven't. But he definitely kind of made clear when we spoke about it that it's not going to be an easy experience, as you said, to watch. It's not going to be just a pick up and watch and off you go. It's going to take a lot of concentration and time investment in order for you to kind of get into it and to understand kind of the concepts that Ridley Scott is kind of tackling and how he wants to tackle them. So it's definitely not going to be something that you can just pick up and watch. You're going to have to invest in it if you want to get the goodness out of it. I think we've got Rich back. I'll try and add him back to the stream now. Yep, there he is.
Hey, Rich. It's still a bit juddery.
Still can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you, I'm afraid. Wow.
He's playing.
Yes.
I have to restart, Rich.
Yeah. All right.
Am I back?
Well,
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
we can see you.
The
and
sound
we
is
can
like,
hear you,
but the sound is
you're-
like a minute delayed.
Yeah, there's a time delay.
He's gone. He's
Yeah. Okay. Well, as I said, we're just gonna have to soldier on. We're
Yeah,
47 minutes down the road, peeps.
Yeah, yeah, it's no going back now.
Have to keep going. Can't turn back now. Okay. For me, God, I had to really sit back and think about what it is I'd actually watched, because there's so much stuff that I watched kind of at the beginning of the year that I liked that I completely forgot about.
yeah.
So I'll just do a quick shout out for some of these. I'm cheating on slightly, by the way, because two of them I think technically kind of came out towards the end of 2019 rather than 2020. But one was The Witcher. I enjoyed The Witcher. I'm not a massive fan of the games, although I played Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and I kind of got on with that. But but almost like with Raised by Wolves, it's the kind of game that you need to kind of invest time in if you're going to do it, and I just don't have that kind of time anymore. So when I played Wild Hunt, it was very much kind of it was a pick up, play it for an hour, and then put it down again. But I liked the TV show. I did enjoy quite a few things that they did with it conceptually. Apparently, from what I was told, the TV show is more closer to the original books than the video game in the sense that it took more from the books and things like that. So I assume that's how it is. But yeah, I like the adaptation. I thought it was quite a bit of fun to watch. The visual effects weren't bad. It was kind of, Henry Cavill does a lot of the heavy lifting as Geralt. But that's not a bad thing because he's quite good at that. So as he showed us with Superman, he's definitely he's able to carry a bad back, and a bad load on his back if he needs to. So I enjoyed The Witcher, so that was good for me. I'll try Rich again because he's waiting in the lobby, so we'll see if we can bring him back in. Rich, can you hear us? Okay, yeah, we can't hear him at all.
I think we'll hear him in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think he's got a serious time delay on his end, so it's
what's going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here.
Rich, you might have to use your data rather than your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I've had to do a lot of times this year.
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, bud. All right. Well, yeah, we'll carry on anyway. What else did I enjoy? Oh, Kingdom Season 2 was wicked.
Okay.
I really love Kingdom. For those that don't know, because there's some confusion here as well, because there's two series out there called Kingdom. One, which Rich has spoken about before, which is like a TV show based around MMA in the world of kind of mixed martial arts.
Right, yeah.
And I think it's kind of like a family drama mixed in with the MMA background. I've not seen it. Richard has, and he really likes it. But the Kingdom I'm on about is a different one. It's a Korean series. It's a horror series. It's kind of, well, it's horror, but it's like a mashup of loads of different things because it's horror, it's period drama, it's a little bit Game of Thronesy as well, and there's various different kind of vibes going on there. But I remember when the first season came out, and I was just like, "Wow, what is this? This is amazing!" And then the second season came out this year, and the second season really did not disappoint at all. It built on everything that was good about the first season, and it upped the ante. And yeah, it felt like characters were just getting killed off left, right, and center as well. And I was just like, "Oh my god, what's going on? Like, this is the guy from the first season. How can you kill him? Like, I don't understand." But yeah, they took every risk they could with that story, and that's what I kind of appreciate with it. They didn't play safe. I don't think. I mean, you could argue the end was a bit kind of like, when you look at it, the end of the season was a bit, maybe it was a bit of a cop out because they gave you the impression that there was going to be this big dramatic finale filled with death, and then it's like, oh no, here's our cheat code written in here, and this is how they're going to get out of it. But there was enough goodwill for me from the previous 12 episodes before that for me to say, all right, I'll let that go. But I like where the story's kind of going and stuff with it as well. And as said, I love kind of that horror is doing so well on streaming services, and that it's so diverse as well, and that you're getting horror stories from all different angles and all different all different influences, which I think I hope is something that carries on in the next year, because for me, that's when horror's at its best, when you get loads of different types of horror, when you get loads of different horror genre mashups and things like that as well. It brings out the best in the genre that way. And Kingdom season 2 definitely represents that for me. So
I need to watch it. I've only watched the first 3 episodes of season 1. I really liked it. I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't continue. Just too much to watch. There's so much content.
You get a bit of overload sometimes, and it's just like, wow, there's so much stuff. Like, how am I going to fit all of this stuff in, man? It's great.
Focus on shows and sort of take them in rather than just speed through. I'm sort of incapable of binging anyway, but just trying to take my time with them and actually think about what I'm watching.
Yeah, definitely.
I try to watch more films and TV shows, because I'm more into film than I am TV. So I'm always trying to fill the gaps with all the TV with all the films I need to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. And a couple quick mentions as well would be. What else did I see? I've got a little list here. Sorry, that's what I'm looking at, because I keep forgetting everything. So that's why I keep looking at it. Oh yes, Castlevania season 3. Well, that was a hell of a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting much from the third season, to be honest, because I thought usually with these things, the first 2 seasons will be strong and then it will drop out, and that'll be the end of that. But they've really carried on and kicked on with Castlevania, and they've made it something that stands up just so superbly well on its own 2 feet. And again, without kind of going into spoilers and stuff, the world building they've done around it. I mean, I know obviously it's based on the video game, so there's a lot of lore and stuff that they can borrow and lean into for the anime series, but they've done it in such a way that is accessible for people who didn't know anything about Castlevania to begin with, which is kind of always the key, I feel, as a fan. If you're going to make something, make it with a view to it being shown to a 70-year-old who has no clue what any of these things are, so that they could at least understand what you're doing. And that's what Castlevania did really well for me. So I've got to give a shout out to Castlevania as well. Chaps, any movie highlights for this year? Jed, I mean, I know you said you were movies,
I watched them because I have Letterboxd, which is a kind of a social network and logging system for films, and I've been doing it for like 5-6 years now. So every film I watch, I log on Letterboxd, so I can see what my top films were this year. So this year I watched 414 films this year so far. Which is an average of 34.5 per month, an average of 8 per week. So it's only 8 per week. So obviously, I can see what I've rated everything. Host is number 1. My own film, I put number 1. But like one of the big films that I like that nobody's talking about is this film called Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, which is directed by this woman called Eliza Hittman. She's been making these kind of low-key indie dramas for a long time. It's not a horror, it's a drama. And it's about these 2 girls that travel from Pennsylvania to New York to get an abortion because it's illegal in Pennsylvania, but it's not in New York. And it feels too real. It feels like, because she kind of like picks someone who's a kind of like a non-actor, it feels so real, their journey. And like, it's so good. It's so good. I watched it and I was amazed with the filmmaking. Like, I felt like I was there with these 2 girls who were like in panic mode. It was really, really, really good. I also this year really liked a film from Blumhouse actually called The Hunt. It was, some people didn't like it because they thought it was a bit too political, but because they think it is about the right getting all these leftists and shooting them on this like ranch. Basically, it's kind of like that, but it's also like really really fun as well. So there's that, and obviously Borat 2 was big for me. I love Borat 2, and I like Tenet. I'm one of the few that really like Tenet and appreciates what he tried to do with Tenet. So yeah, thumbs up for me.
Cool. We've got Rich back, so we're going to try and give him a go one more time. Rich, can you hear us? Yeah, we can't hear you.
We can see you if you can like hold up signs like in
hold flashcards like in Love Actually.
In Love Actually, that's what you've got to do.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm really sorry about that, listeners. I don't know. We just seem to be having continual technical problems at the moment. I guess everybody's streaming and talking to their grandparents and doing all sorts on the internet today. So, oh well, it is what it is. We'll keep it moving.
Because the thing is, Rich is wearing a Daredevil shirt as well, and I thought he was meant to be blind. Like,
yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Wow, that was late.
Oh, we're hearing you now from 2 minutes ago. That's crazy.
Oh.
Whoa, it's like I'm in some time portal or something.
Yeah.
He's in the quantum realm. That's what the problem is.
Yeah.
No, how about you, man? Was there any movies that you enjoyed?
I've barely watched anything. My list has just been put to shame by Jed. But one thing I did.
Can you hear me now?
Is yes, 5 minutes ago, Rich. One thing I did appreciate watching was Train to Busan, which surprised me. So it was recommended, and partly because I was related to the story that I'm writing, so just to get some kind of inspiration. So just like went into it, and it was really good. Like, I was
really good,
really good. And I don't typically even watch. I mean, it's not horror. It's not like out and out horror. It's a sort of zombie film. But usually I don't even watch that. But I was like, I'm in with this, and the performance from the little girl as well.
So good, yeah.
Like, whoa,
Nigel, they've released a sequel called Peninsula, which kind of came out this year. Actually, it's going to be on Shudder in January, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's coming to Shudder in January, from what I saw. Yeah,
I've seen it. It's disappointing, man. It's
really. Oh no! Don't say that.
It's nowhere near as good as the original. Like some of the kind of like set pieces, like you think, wow, this is cool, but like the story isn't there. It's like the story is so dry. It's so dry.
Is actually, I mean, it's simple, but it's effective.
Yeah.
So it kind of it brings everything together. So there's a reason why you're watching these sort of zombies chase everyone. And I always like for me, I don't always get that from horror films, but for this, I felt okay. I know why I'm watching this. I know who I'm rooting for and what I would like to see happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I really like that. Oh, I also watched Contagion, which is interesting to see.
Yeah.
So I watched that for the first time, and I was like, oh, okay, so,
it's all right. It's fine, isn't it?
It's interesting, that one, because there's no protagonist, which kind of threw me off a little bit. So I didn't know who we were following, but then I got it. It's just about the whole kind of different perspectives in this kind of scenario. But while I was watching, I don't know who I should care about in this, but I see what they were going for.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's fair enough, man. Richard is back. I think he's back as in he's watching in the channel. So thanks for watching along, Rich. Post a comment, yeah?
You can have a troll
section and we'll post it In fact, he's just put something up for us now. Kingdom, the MMA show, was my other show. Yeah. We were just kind of explaining about Kingdom, the MMA drama as well, and that. I said I can't speak on it because I haven't seen it. Unfortunately, it would have been perfect to get Rich on to speak about that, but obviously we're having some technical issues and stuff, so we're just going to have to soldier on without him, I'm afraid. But yeah, Kingdom, the MMA show, is definitely on my watch list for
Me too.
this year. So I'm going to catch it because more than one person now has told me that it's really good and it's worth watching. So I'll make sure I make some time for that for sure. Yes, we should probably talk a little bit about some anime as well, because Nigel is a big fan of anime, and Jed, I know you're a fan of anime as well, and you watch a few bits.
Yeah.
I've been able to get a lot of anime watching done this year, partly because my son has kind of been growing up this year and kind of learning to kind of watch his own TV shows, and I've started to wean him on anime as well. So he's a big fan of My Hero Academia. At the moment, he loves the intro music, and he's a big fan of Dr. Stone as well. Again, because of like themes and the music, and I think it's anything that's got kind of like quite bright colors and has a nice catchy tune. Then he's in. Yeah. So that's been my my back door into kind of indoctrinating him in the anime ways. But
does he like action ones, or does he like cutesy kind of cute ones, or is he into like the ones where there's like fighting and?
He seems to, I think, prefer the slightly cutesier stuff more than the darker stuff. Because I have watched some darker animes with him, and he kind of gets bored. I guess because it's less visual and more a kind of an audible storytelling almost in terms of how they deal with like characters and things like that in some of those shows. So he's less kind of engaged with that. But if it's very colorful and loud and fast and kind of splashy and stuff like that, then yeah, he'll stop like playing with his toys and be like, "Oh, what's this?" And start watching that. So yeah, we've kind of been watching a lot of that stuff really. So I've watched Shokugeki no Soma, Food Wars, which has been a lot of fun. That finished this year. I think the final season was this year, and I really enjoyed it. It's basically like every kind of shonen style anime, but with cooking. So instead of them like two students challenging each other to a fight, they're challenging each other to a cook-off, and then it's like kind of it's kind of based around that. And then the main character is a kid who him and his dad kind of run like a cafe in downtown Tokyo. And the dad's kind of like, you're wasting away here. You need to kind of do, you need to go and learn how to be a real chef. So he sends him off to like this prestigious cooking school. And in the cooking school, they have this thing where you can challenge another chef to a cook-off, basically. Mm-hmm. And so essentially the whole series is him like challenging all of these people and working his way up the chain until he gets to the final master and things like that. And yeah, it's kind of fun. It's very silly. It's not something you should take seriously at all. It's got a very silly sense of humor as well. But it's quite fun and uplifting, and the food is amazing as well. So never ever watch it on an empty stomach, because you will suffer, because some of the food they cook is unbelievable. So
it's not as bad as when you watch like a Studio Ghibli film. And like the food in there looks so real, and actually ramen. They get ramen perfectly right.
I will actually say that Food Wars is actually worse than the Studio Ghibli film for realism, because they've actually done like a huge amount of research into the recipes that the characters cook on the show. So I think 99% of them are actually real, legitimate foods that you can find all around the world. I think there's only one or two that they've kind of just made up for the show, but almost everything else is actually something that is a dish that you can eat out there. And the animators, you can see, like kind of have taken great care to present the dishes as they should look. So don't watch it on an empty stomach, man. That's not safe. Believe me, that's not safe. What else was there anime wise? Oh, Detective Conan, which we managed to get through. I think 560 episodes of the entire series that was released on Crunchyroll. I really liked Detective Conan. It wasn't something I was expecting to like, to be honest. I was looking for something to watch with Quincy, and I thought, yeah, let me put this on. It looks quite colorful. It looks kind of cutesy. He'll like it. And I actually really got into it. It's one of those. It's
how long is an episode, Jason?
Not long. They're each one is maybe 25 minutes.
He's gone through 500 plus episodes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But they're yes. Well, at one point, me and the boy were watching it like every day, so that's kind of why it got to that stage. But it's really cool. It's kind of like an Agatha Christie style kind of whodunit style. Basically, there's this kid who you're introduced to who's called Conan or Detective Conan. And he lives with a guy who is an ex-copper who's now like a kind of mystery writer, and his daughter. And they essentially just go around kind of solving mysteries and solving crimes and things like that. But you find out that the kid is actually a lot older than he appears. He basically took some experimental drug that shrunk him down to a little kid because anime. So he's now like an older teen in the body of a child.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of cool because it's kind of fun, and as I said, if you like kind of mystery and things like that, then it's really cool. So that I watched and finished the whole season and really enjoyed that. And I'm trying to think of what else I saw this year. Oh yeah, of course, Attack on Titan as well. I've started the new season of that, and
I've only seen season one.
Me too. I only saw season one.
So I watched it.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys have got loads of catch up to do because it's also
stay good. Does it stay good? Because I loved season one, but then I don't know. I think I watched one episode of season two, and I was like, it's different. It feels different.
I think they changed animation studios, so I think that may be why it feels different. But it does. Season two, you kind of have to hang in there a bit because they do drag it out a bit. But season 3 is really, really good. Season 3 is kind of the season where finally everything they set up in season 1 gets explained, and you're like, wow. That's why this happens.
Okay,
that's why that happens, and that's why these people are who they are, and that's why they behave the way they behave. So yeah, it's worth sticking with, I think. But yeah, I said it does require some patience because it kind of the second season is a little bit of a dragger. It does drag a little bit. So yeah, I mean that's it for me. I think for anime, gaming. Yeah, gaming. I've really not done any gaming this year, so I'm going to leave this to you two. So, so if you guys have done anything or anything that's caught you this year, then let me know.
I'm just going to go straight to The Last of Us Part 2. Because that for me, so we did a live stream about it on Monday, and we just didn't even cover. We spoke for like an hour and a half and didn't cover everything. But I think for me, like that game, it's interesting because I enjoyed the story and enjoyed the story about the game. Well, actually, maybe enjoyed Strong because some of the discussion was a bit toxic, but
right.
Yeah, I think the game itself, what it does for sort of narrative and storytelling in video games, I think is remarkable because it does something for me that it forces you to experience empathy. And I think for whatever reason, where we are in the world, a lot of people struggle with that. And it's very much because it. So have you played it, Jed? Or
no, I haven't played it actually. No.
I'll avoid any sort of too specific details, but basically, you from the last game, which is focused on Joel and Ellie, and it's very much a even though I haven't seen The Mandalorian, I get some familiar vibes in terms of a character that is forced to take care of this child on a journey that he doesn't want to. But in this case, he kind of grows to sort of care for her very much. Mm-hmm. And in the second one, that relationship is tested, and it introduces new characters who you feel very passionately against, and then forces you to experience things from their perspective. And it does what I think is quite a brave thing, in that it doesn't do it in a token gesture kind of way. Like, you have to like experience this character. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people didn't like that, but I felt that, yeah, what it does for like sort of video games, because it just means that, you know, video games, obviously people do it to escape, and there's an element of that. But I think just because an experience or the emotion isn't a positive one, doesn't make it a bad game or story, if that makes sense. And I think it explores that side of things, and I think it just it takes sort of video game narrative to a more mature place, just generally speaking. And I think it did very well with that.
Cool. How about you, Jed?
For me, like, I'm looking for a PS5. So if anyone out there's got a hookup, give it to me. But
working on that as well.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm willing to pay a little bit more than like recommended retail price. But I haven't even been playing my Switch. I've got a Switch. Haven't really been playing. What I've been playing is the new Football Manager that came out like 2 weeks ago. That's what I've been playing.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing that game since I was a kid. Like when I had an Amiga and you had to buy separate discs for the Italian leagues. That's what I was doing. And like, I think the fact that I support Liverpool, and for most of my life, Liverpool have been shit. Have actually been shit. Now Liverpool are doing so well. So when I play Football Manager now, it's like a cheat code, because Liverpool have got shit tons of money and everybody is a world class player. Just like basically in real life, our first 11 is basically world class, and it's just so easy. Like it just feels good. Even though I know I could pick any other team and I have a challenge, I don't want a challenge. I want to see my team win, like in real life.
You want to pay them for like that investment of just mediocrity of so many years.
Exactly. Having Virgil van Dijk and Alisson on your team, and Salah and Mane and Bobby Firmino, you can't lose. You can't lose in this game. So I'm loving it at the moment, and it's the kind of game that I play on and off for an entire year until the new game comes out. That's like longevity, and I've been doing that for 20 years, or like longer than 20 years. So yeah, so that's the game for me. If there's one game where I look back on my life when I'm like in an old folks' home and think, what did I spend most of my life doing? It's playing Football Manager. So, I mean, it's one of the most popular games ever. But I know I need to.
It's very easily done, Jed. It's very easily done. Believe me, I've fallen into the Football Manager hole with myself in the past as well. I mean, I'm still playing 2019. I haven't bought the new one.
The new one.
I've never played this game properly. Like in university, my housemate, he was really into this game.
Okay.
And even though I'm a big football fan, I'm not. I've never been into the game in any serious way. I think it's just I have this weird thing where anything that requires like a long-term sort of time commitment, I just switch off. So I'm like, that's just not. Even though I like what it's about, but it is good to see how they've like continued to adapt the game, and it's still just as relevant.
And like the for 2020, the difference between 2019 and 2020, the match engine, it's like you're watching a real game now. Just all the stuff you can do, it feels so real. And like the way that it keeps its longevity is you're building your under 23s, your under 18s, and your youth development team. You have so much control over that. You're building like for the next 10 years of you playing this game, you're building those teams, finding these 14, 15-year-olds from Brazil, putting them into your development team, watching them grow into world class. And like, it's just like, it's so good. It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. And like I do a thing where like I have an affiliate club like League 2 or League 1, and I loan all my like young Brazilian, Italian, Dutch players to, and and they get up to like League 1 to Championship, and that's just like doubly satisfying.
Yeah. I've definitely been there as well, man. I've sent out many a youngster on loan and said, all right, go out on loan. I want you to impress me in these clubs. And then I'll go and I'll get like the little match reports from the scout as well. So the scout will what to say, yeah, he did this and that and the other in the game. And I'm just like, oh my God. And funny story before we wrap this up, a friend of mine got really, really into Football Manager. This is years ago. And he got so much into it that when his team that he was managing got to the Champions League final, he dressed up in a suit to play the game on the day. Because I remember coming home, and this is when we were like at uni, and I remember coming home and coming into the house, and he was like in kind of the house just there like in his suit, and I was like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "When the Champions League final, it's the final."
yeah.
I was like, what? And he's like, "It's the final, mate. Like, I've got to wear a suit."
Did he do it like you asked a stupid question as well?
Was he playing the music as well? Oh my God!
Yeah.
And did he win again? Did his team win?
I think they did. Yeah. I think he did win. Yeah. I can't remember now. But
did he knock on your bedroom door and like parade?
The champagne, like.
The last corner was in your room. Like,
that like people do get like Football Manager really gets people going, man. It really does. It's one of those games that if you already have a kind of addictive personality, then that will definitely kick down some doors and get you addicted quick time.
Oh, can I do one more game before we?
Go for it.
Just to prove my late to the party theory. So this year I played for the first time GTA 5. For the first time.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So I'm like 7 years late to that party. I'm a GTA fan. Like I played all the previous games, but for whatever reason, this one just missed me.
I skipped 5 as well, man. I was a massive fan of 4, and then I played 5 for a little bit, and I was just like, nah. I want to go back. I want to go back to the 80s. I want to play 4.
And like, was my favorite.
They've actually got the remasters on the PlayStation Store at the moment. So they've got remastered versions of from what I saw yesterday, it was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And Vice City I saw on there as well. I
think those are
Love Vice.
Yeah,
Vice City was my favorite.
Yeah, Vice City
music.
Exactly. The music. Like
I will spend all day just getting a motorbike, just riding around in circles, listening to the radio. It's like, this is my life. But then, like, you look back on it, you think, what was I doing? I could just turn on the radio or like listen.
Yeah, it's an expensive way of listening to classic from the 80s. Like, you don't have to do that.
That's from the 80s while mowing down innocent bystanders.
It's true.
Like, you can't get down the radio.
That's true.
That is very true. All right, chaps. Well, thanks a lot for joining me, man. I'm going to let you guys go and enjoy your mince pies and go and get pissed because it's Christmas. And everybody watching, thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate you coming along and taking the time out on Christmas Eve of all times to sit down and listen to us waffle. Richard is out there in the ether, but if he was here, we would say thank you very much as well for joining us. Yeah. And you know what? This is so fun. We'll have another one of these again. So we'll definitely organize another live stream and try and get you guys involved in the chats and stuff as well. So
sounds good, man.
Yeah, works for me. All right, I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to go and get pissed. I suggest you all do the same. Jed said, thanks a lot for coming along. Once again, congratulations on an amazing year. And hopefully, 2021 is the start of even more great things for you. And Nigel, as said, always a pleasure to have you around. Always great to see May Armada doing loads of different things out there. So yeah, congrats to you as well. And I'm sure we'll be hooking up again in the next year.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you guys on our podcast. Jed, invitation also open. I'm throwing
Thank
out
you.
invites.
I'll come on. Yeah, I'll come on.
Awesome.
Hold you to that.
Awesome. And Richard says thanks, guys, which is awesome as well. So yeah, he's
Good to
there
see you,
as well.
Rich.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Appreciate you, bro. I know you had your difficulties, but yeah, we'll do this again, definitely. All right, peeps, we're out of here. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you again soon.
Merry
Peace out.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.